seeker who, after suffering an injury that wouldn't heal, was led on a journey to seek out alternative, holistic, and natural medicine. She now shares what she learned, helping people and their cats along their path to holistic health. Pam has taken courses in holistic health for animals, muscle testing, and animal communication. Please welcome Pam. Back to News for the Soul.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It is great to be back with you guys tonight. I am so excited to be here. Let's see if we can get this rolling. We're running a couple minutes behind, so thank you to my producers. I appreciate you so very much for helping me fix everything. So how is everybody? How are you guys? Let me know where you're watching from. Drop a comment over here. I'd love to acknowledge you and just appreciate you guys being here. We have a cool little fun show tonight. Hi, Jennifer from Oklahoma. First of all, I cannot believe it's like almost June. So I don't know where the first 5 months of this year have gone. It's like you wake up one day and you go from like an infant to, you graduated from high school. I don't know where time goes. Anyway, so yeah, drop a comment. Let me know you're watching. And then if you have questions tonight, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can drop a comment into the comments or drop a question if you'd like to. And we are streaming on Instagram, but I cannot see the comments. So you'll have to either hop on over to Facebook or YouTube if you want to actually drop a comment. Now, my show producer may be able to pull comments or questions from on the air at Tell Us. That's the News for the Soul email address. So maybe that would be possible as well. Let me just make sure I have that email. I think it's on the air at telus.net. I believe, if that is correct. So yeah, what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to put to bed some myths around cat facts. There's a lot of misinformation running around, even in the veterinary community, depending on who you listen to, about just interesting details and facts about cats and behavior and cat health and cat food and just cat care in general. So we're going to do a little quiz tonight, and we're going to test your intelligence and see if you've been catching up or staying up with all the most factual information. So it should be kind of fun. And then at the end of the show, I am going to share with you some updates. You don't want to miss that. So hang tight at the end of the program, and I'm going to drop some information for you. Now, first of all, I am going to share my screen for you guys who are actually watching. Let me go in and grab. See what I can find. So what we got here, let me pull this up for you. All right. So, how cat savvy are you? So savvy is just another fancy word for how intelligent, how smart. Are you up to date? We're going to pose several questions tonight, and it's a quiz. So I'm going to read some questions to you. If you can see the screen, you are welcome to play along. I'm going to read either true, false options or multiple choice options for answers. So this is going to be a fun little game. So are you ready? Let's get started. So one of the first common myths around cat care and cat food and things like that prompted me to come up with this question, and you will hear it all the time. So here's the question, or the statement, and you have to decide if this is true or false. Cats need to eat dry food because it helps clean their teeth and reduce tartar and plaque. So I'm going to say it again. Cats need to eat dry food because it helps clean their teeth and reduce tartar and plaque. Is that true or is that false? So I'll give you a second to think about that. Some of you who have been following me for a little while probably know the answer really quickly. But if you don't, you're going to know, you're going to learn now. So the answer is, of course, B. It is false. And it's so funny because even vets still say this. Cats do not need to eat dry food. Number one, they don't need to eat dry food, period. But it definitely doesn't help clean their teeth and reduce tartar and plaque. And here's why. Dry food is broken down. It starts to break down in the mouth with the amylase, which is the digestive enzyme that is produced to break down sugar. And sugar actually contributes to the plaque and tartar that builds up on the teeth. So if your cat is eating a lot of dry food, they are full of starches, which hold the kibble together. And basically it's metabolized with sugar. So if your cat is eating a lot of dry food or just dry food in general, yes, it is contributing to the plaque and tartar on their teeth. So it's just another great reason why you do not need to buy into that myth anymore. So yes, if you want to really get some really good help for your cat's teeth, learn how to brush their teeth if possible. And the other there's some great water additives that you can use that help reduce the plaque and tartar off the teeth. You can add there's supplements that you can put into food that helps contribute to removing that or making things less sticky onto the teeth. So yeah, look into some supplements and some additives. Obviously, the cleaner the diet, if you can feed raw, fresh food, it has natural enzymes in it that helps remove that tartar and plaque and keeps the teeth really clean, as well as letting your cat chew on raw, small bones. That is also a good way for them to have that scraping and just scrapes the tartar off the teeth to begin with, which is great. So that is the answer to number one. Number two, indoor cats should use flea medication year-round, even if they aren't exposed to fleas. How many of you have heard this from your vet? Raise your hand. Probably more common than you realize. For some reason, vets think that indoor cats need flea treatment. So is that true or is that false? Indoor cats should use flea medication year-round, even if they aren't exposed to fleas. So the answer is false. So if next time you are at the vet's office and they suggest that your cat is, absolutely, you must continue to use this all year long, just say no, thank you, because indoor cats do not need to have flea treatments. I don't know where, well, it's probably all about the money. Anyway, so answer number two, false. Your indoor cats do not need year-round flea treatments, especially if they are indoors. My goodness. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Number three, it's important to revaccinate every year or every 3 years because immunity runs out if you go past the due dates. Let me say it again. So it's important to revaccinate every year or every 3 years because immunity runs out if you go past the due dates. How many of you think that is true? And how many of you think that is false? The answer is false. If you were listening to our radio show back mid-April with Dr. Jeff Grognet, you would remember that there is a concept, actually a fact, scientific fact called duration of immunity, which means your cat is protected for life once your cat is immunized and their body has had a reaction to or mounts an immune response to their vaccines. It produces these antibodies in memory cells in the immune system itself that can mount a response if their cat is ever faced or comes in contact with that type of virus that they're vaccinating for. So vaccines that are labeled 1 year or 3 years only means that vaccine was studied for 1 year or studied for 3 years. That's about as scientific as it gets. So There's no immunity running out. So next time you get that little postcard in the mail that says they're overdue, just laugh and throw it in the trash. Okay? To save yourself a lot of hassle. Number 4, cats who peed outside the litter box or spray or mark on places like furniture, beds, walls, floors, etc. do this because A, they are mad at you. B, they are afraid and their scent brings them comfort. C, they're just being jerks. D, they are communicating with other household pets. E is A and C. So A, they are mad at you and they're just being jerks. Or B and D, they are afraid and their scent brings them comfort and they are communicating with other household pets. So again, cats who pee outside the litter box or spray or mark on places like furniture, beds, walls, floors, etc. do this because one of those 5 reasons. So what are your thoughts on that question? If you selected number F, which is B and D, you are correct. They do this because they are afraid and their scent brings them comfort. And they are also using this as a way of communicating with other household pets. Because remember, cats mark to send messages. It is a communication signal. You know, they are, especially even feral cats, kind of similar to the way dogs, you know, have to pee on every tree and every fire hydrant and grass that they're walking by. They're just kind of, think of it like the cat's internet. They're making a post for whoever comes by that can read it or smell it, you know, and they're just saying, hey, I was here. Or in cats' cases, this is mine and this is my territory and this is my area and I don't feel safe if you come past this little barrier right here. So they're just trying to comfort themselves and communicate with other household pets. So I thought that was a fun one to put on here. How are you doing so far? Are you like 4 for 4? I hope you are. Okay, so the next question is, what is not a biologically appropriate diet for cats? Which of these options is not a biologically appropriate diet for cats? Number 1, or A, is kibble. B is canned or pouched food. C is raw food. And D is gently cooked or freeze-dried food. So again, which is not biologically appropriate diet for cats? Kibble, canned or pouched food, raw food, or gently cooked or freeze-dried food? If you said kibble, you are correct. So kibble is not a biologically appropriate food for or diet for cats because you have to understand how kibble is made. So kibble uses some sort of starch material. Starch plant is usually plant-based, that is sticky enough that they can make all the food stick together and they run it through those extruders that come out in those cute little shapes or pellets or whatever. So they got to have something to stick it together. And what happens is there tends to be so much starch and carbohydrate in the food that's probably 40 to 60% carbs at the end of the day, if you do the math on it. And cats, being carnivores, don't have any biological reason to eat or need for carbohydrates in their diet. Okay. Naturally, they're going to get about 2 to 3, maybe 4% in the wild. And it's just through the prey that they eat. And it's typically the stomach contents that may have plant material that their prey ate. Now, those types of sources of carbohydrate make really, really great sources of prebiotic fiber that would benefit the microbiome. But when you get into amounts like 30+%, which is probably most kibbles by far and large, especially if you shop at the grocery store, you're probably looking at the upwards of 40 to 60% carbohydrate. So that is not species appropriate. It is not biologically appropriate because their pancreas simply cannot metabolize, it cannot break down, it has no need for all this sugar. So then you start to run into problems and their body just kind of goes a little goes out of whack. Basically, it's very inflammatory. So stick to your canned or your pouch food, stick to your raw food. Obviously, that would be ideal and best. Gently cooked or freeze dried would be other great options. Okay, so the next question is, in most cases, one vaccine may confer immunity to a disease for the life of the animal. I'm going to say it again. So, in most cases, one vaccine may confer immunity to a disease for the life of the animal. So, number A, is this true? B, it depends on the efficacy of the vaccine. C, it's false. D, pets always need vaccines throughout their lives in order to be protected. E, is it C and D? So C is false, and pets always need vaccines throughout their lives in order to be protected. Or is the answer F, which is A and B, meaning true, and it depends on the efficacy of the vaccine. So out of those 5 possible answers, which one is appropriate for this question? In most cases, one vaccine may confer immunity to a disease for the life of the animal. The answer is F. So it's true. That is true. One vaccine may confer immunity for life. And it also depends on the efficacy of the vaccine. So if you have a vaccine that is, 60% effective in that particular case, then there's a chance that it may not do very well, but that's where you can just do other things like titer and check and see. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here real quick and take a peek at how we're doing. I'm going to come over here before we go on. Bayla says, I wish that every vet in Peterborough, Ontario would be listening. The people who have cats in my building are clueless. I know it's hard. That's why I'm doing the show. And you know what? You can share this video after we're done and share it with people in your building, if there's a way to do so. And if you have a vet or a clinic, or if there's like some kind of a social board that you can put this information out there, absolutely do it. Jennifer says, oops, missed reading number 4. I know you can. Don't jump ahead. We'll come back to it. Okay, so next question. Number 7. Adverse reactions to a vaccine only happen within the first 24 to 48 hours. A, is that true? B, is it false? So adverse reactions to a vaccine only happen within the first 24 to 48 hours. So what are your thoughts? Is that true? Is that false? What does your vet tell you? Lots of vets, obviously, they think this is what they tell people. So I wanted to be sure to include this. The truth is, it is false. Adverse reactions to a vaccine can happen 30 days after the vaccine. You can start to see problems 6 months later. And that's where the disconnect comes, that I see with a lot of vaccine injured animals and their vets. They just don't even want to acknowledge the possibility that, hey, you know what, that vaccine I gave them 30 days ago is the reason why they're itching like crazy and they're scratching and they're over grooming, or the dogs are licking their paws, they're getting hot spots, whatever the case might be. You got to go back to your calendars, guys. Always check your calendars. When you have a symptom, something like this, go back and look at the history and see what was going on 30 days, 60 days, 90 days prior, and see if you can start to trace the cause, okay? Because obviously the effect is adverse reactions. So now, yes, they can have adverse reactions within the first 24 hours, and I've seen it myself in many years ago when I used to do vaccines every year, like, most people probably still do, before I learned how to do better. A lot of times, like one of the most common ones is just your cat is like acting lethargic and sleeping all the time, and maybe, just not themselves. But you can have serious adverse reactions, including allergic reactions and anaphylactic shock and swelling and hives and all these horrible, horrible things. So um, it can happen immediately and it can happen months later. So keep that in mind. Okay, the next question is, in order to make improvements in overall health, studies have found that by replacing this amount of the processed food for fresh food makes a big impact. I'm going to say it again. So, in order to make improvements in overall health, studies have found that by replacing this amount of processed food for fresh food makes a big impact. Is that amount A, 50%, B, 10%, C, 20%, or D, diet plays no role in improving health? So again, is it A, 50% improvement? Is it B, 10% improvement? Is it, I'm sorry, replacing this amount? So what portion of the food do you have to replace? 50%? B, 10%, C, 20%, or D, diet plays no role in improving health? So, wish I had the Jeopardy music I'd be playing. So, what are your thoughts? Let me come over here and let's see what you're putting down. Nicole's here. I was just thinking about you the other day, girlfriend. So glad to see you. Okay, so the answer is 20%. You only have to replace 20% of the bowl to see improvements in health, major improvements in health. So take out 20% of that processed food if you are feeding processed food and replace it with some fresh food. This can be for dogs or cats. Fresh raw meat, eggs, sardines. I mean, just there's so many great benefits of fresh food. Um, Obviously, cats, carnivore, think healthy proteins and sources like that. We've done tons of radio shows and live events talking about how to improve the bowl. So go back and watch those videos if you need some ideas. All right. Now we are moving on to the next questions. Next page. Okay, so the next one, prescription diets offer a medicinal benefit to help improve a condition, and the animal needs to be on this food for life. I'll read it again. So, prescription diets offer a medicinal benefit to help improve a condition, and the animal needs to be on this food for life. So, A, is that true? B, is that false? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so the answer is false. You will hear vets say that your cat or your dog needs this special prescription diet because it's it has some kind of a prescription benefit to it, and some kind of a medical benefit, and that's why they need on, because they have this special condition, and so it's a medicinal benefit, and they need to be on this the rest of their life. I cannot tell you how many times people hear that from their vets, but it's not true. Prescription diets actually have zero medicine in them. Let me say that again. Prescription diets have zero, big goose egg, medicine in them. There is nothing medicinal whatsoever about those diets, okay? Prescription diet is a marketing term that has been used for the longest time to con people into thinking it's a medicine, like a prescription that only your vet can provide for you. And there's actually a lawsuit right now that is in the works because of the deceptive marketing practices. There is zero requirement for needing a veterinary prescription for food, especially when it has zero medicine in it. Now, the other thing about this is the animal should never be on this for life. Prescription, and I say that very lightly, prescription diets can be helpful to help a condition, but it should be used for a very limited time. And then that animal needs to be off of that because it could create a lot of nutritional imbalances and problems long term. You're just trying to use it for a short term to address something, but it is not intended to be on for life. So that is definitely a false answer. So next time you hear your vet suggest that, just know that that is not true. Okay, the next question. Can okay, no, it's a statement. So cats can pick up on emotional stress in the home, and this contributes to, there's six possible answers to this. So cats can pick up on emotional stress in the home, and this contributes to A, digestive issues, B, unwanted behavior, C, vocalization, D, stress, E, cats don't pick up on emotional stress from their environment, or F, A, B, C, and D. So I'll say it again. So A is digestive issues, B is unwanted behavior, C, vocalization, D is stress, E, cats don't pick up on emotional stress from their environment, F is A, B, C, and D. So all the other ones. If you said F, you are correct. So emotional stress on the home can contribute to digestive issues, unwanted behaviors, vocalization, and of course, stress. So remember, whatever energy we are putting into our environment, our pets are picking up on. They are like little energy sponges, and they're not immune to anything in their environment because it's all about frequency, it's all about energy. So it's important that we monitor our emotional stress and our just stress levels, period, in order to protect our pets and to protect ourselves. So we have to find ways to eliminate and address that stress in a healthy way. Okay, number 11, cats are exposed to heavy metals, neurotoxins, toxic chemicals, and glyphosate through, let me say that again. Here's the question one more time. Cats are exposed to heavy metals, neurotoxins, toxic chemicals, and glyphosate through A, pesticides, B, herbicides, C, vaccines, D, food, E, laundry products, F, air fresheners, or G, all of the above. So is it pesticides, herbicides, vaccines, food, laundry products, air fresheners, or all of the above? If you said all of the above, you are correct. So all of these things, pesticides, herbicides, vaccines, food, laundry, air fresheners, they all contribute to one of those listed. So heavy metals, neurotoxins, toxic chemicals, and glyphosate. So it's very, very important that we are aware of the sources of toxins and sources of heavy metals and things that are going into our cats' bodies through these kinds of sources so that we can eliminate those and do better. All right, let me come on over here, back over and check. I love how y'all are putting in the answers. Yay! Okay, good job, good job, good job. Okay, on number 12, a grain-free dry cat food is better than one containing corn, soy, rice, or wheat. A grain-free dry cat food is better than one containing corn, soy, rice, or wheat. A, is it true? B, is it false? What are your thoughts? If you are thinking true, you're wrong. It's false. So grain-free dry cat food is no better on any level than corn, soy, rice, or wheat. Typically, your grain-free dry food is going to be loaded with something like legumes. Here's your peas, your beans, garbanzo beans, your lentils, things like that. that are highly sprayed with glyphosate before they're harvested, so they can actually contain even more chemical load of glyphosate than corn, soy, and rice and wheat. So grain-free doesn't do your cat any good whatsoever. Um, and it's also metabolized as sugar. So you got to remember, go back to how they make dry food to begin with. They need a sticky something to make it all stick together. And so that ingredient, that those legumes act as those carbohydrates. They act sticky. So, and the other thing is, and I don't know that a lot of people know this, is legumes are, they're considered lectins, which are sticky proteins. So when cats eat things like legumes, they can create this sticky barrier, this barrier inside the intestinal lining that can actually block nutrient absorption. So it's no, it can cause just as much havoc on the whole GI system as, a dry food that has corn, soy, rice, and wheat. So there you go. All right. Now we're going to go back up to, nope, I went too far. Number 13, there is always an emotional component to illness. There is always an emotional component to illness. Is this true or is this false? If you are thinking false, that is wrong. It's true. There's always an emotional component to illness. And the reason this is because the body is able to store and emit emotions in organs, tissues, and glands in the body. And whenever you have dis-ease in the body, it starts at the external area, okay? It starts at the spiritual or the emotional level outside the body. And these kinds of energies and frequencies affect the body. So they can create or contribute, if left unaddressed, it can actually create enough stress that causes dis-ease in the body, and it disrupts a balanced, healthy immune system. So yes, there is always going to be an emotional component to illness. So just keep that in mind. So whenever you are dealing with a sick animal, I love to provide some kind of a source of emotional support at the same time while they're going through the healing process. Okay. Now, number 14, there is really no way to help a cat overcome traumas or negative experiences other than time, patience, and love. There is really no way to help a cat overcome traumas or negative experiences other than time, patience, and love. Is that true or is that false? It's not meant to be a trick question, but the answer is false. There are so many ways to help a cat, even a dog, overcome traumas and negative experience that they encounter or that they've had happen to them in the past. Yes, patience and love, they're required, absolutely. But a lot of times they don't fix the problem. They don't make it go away. Energy work has been such an amazing impact on healing traumas, even in pets. We know it works great for humans, but it does work with pets as well. So next time your cat has gone through some kind of a trauma, or if you work in rescue and there's been some kind of a surrender or abuse of some kind, know that animal is definitely going to need some emotional support, and I would work with an energy healer of some kind to help facilitate that level of healing. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. So cats, let me come back over here. So cats have the ability to see and connect with the spirit world. That is the statement. So cats have the ability to see and connect with the spirit world. Is this true or is this false? So, what are your thoughts? Um, it is so true. I can't. I don't know. If you've been following me for a little while, every now and then I'll post some really crazy stuff that's mind blowing. I've written some articles. I've shared some videos about actual energies and seeing orbs and spirits in my home on video. It is absolutely mind boggling. But yes, our cats can see these things. Even if we can't see with our eyes, um, they know they're there. It's all about energy. And like I said, they're little energy sponges and they're so sensitive. Um, they have some unique, amazing senses, so much more beyond what we're able to do as humans. But if you see like a cat staring up at the corner of your your home, a living room or a bedroom or whatever, and they are just fixated on something and there's nothing there that you can see, go get your phone and put your video recorder on and video where they're looking, and then play back the video and see if you see anything, and you might have to play it back really slow. um, they see stuff. They see spirits. They see pets and spirit that visit. They see former family members. They see whatever's there. But yeah, they are so sensitive to that. And so it's a good reminder to us to be more sensitive and just aware that those kinds of frequencies and energies can definitely affect them, and sometimes in a not so good way. It can be very traumatic. It can be very frightening, especially if those energies tend to be really attracted to your cats. Um, I had to learn that myself when, like, the first year that I was here in this house, when my cats and spirit were here supporting me through a very big transition in my life. And they were bothering Aylin and Gunner to the nth degree, like I have never seen before. So I had to tell them to stop visiting because the cats were so distraught all the time. Um, and my cats didn't recognize them in their energetic state. So, and I'm sure they were just following them around and, like, hey, it's me. They're like, who are you? So just be aware is all I'm saying. It's not that you have to be scared, because there's nothing to be afraid of as far as that goes. Those things can't harm you, and they have to be given permission. So if you don't want something present, then in all of your with as much kindness as you can emit, just say thank you, but I don't need your presence anymore. You need to leave now. Um, and they have to go. I mean, they don't have the free will to stick around. So if you don't give them permission, they are not allowed to stay. So send them off with love and just say thank you, but your presence is no longer wanted or needed. Okay, so our last question here is: a chronic disease process can happen from over vaccination, and this includes, it's a long list, so you might want to take notes. So a chronic disease process can happen from over vaccination, and this includes hyperthyroidism, B, IBD, C, heart disease, D, allergies, E, mobility issues or arthritis, F, rhinitis and respiratory issues, G, skin diseases, H, asthma, I, cancer and lymphoma, J, kidney failure, K, tumors, or L, all of the above. And that was a long list, so I'm just going to read it one more time. A, hyperthyroidism, B, IBD, C, heart disease, 4, allergies. I'm sorry, that was a D, allergies. E, mobility issues and arthritis. F, rhinitis and respiratory issues. G, skin diseases. H, asthma. I, cancer and lymphoma. J, kidney failure. K, tumors. Or L, all of the above. So if you were trying to decide between all of those options, it's real simple. It's all of the above. So I don't know how many people realize that. And again, I don't know how many vets have connected the dots and look at studies, but it's real. All of these illnesses and disease processes have links to over vaccination. So be aware if you, like me, I used to do this because I was that dutiful pet parent that, followed instructions whenever I got the little, it's time to come see your, bring your cats in from the vet. I didn't know that all of these diseases could be linked to vaccines. So if your cat is struggling with one of these, think back, go back through their records and look at how many vaccines have they been given in their lives. And then I would definitely do some detox work. Now, is it going to, stop the disease process if it's gotten really bad or, past the point of return? Probably not. But wouldn't you feel better knowing that those toxins are out of their body so that they don't contribute to more problems? So I would just think of it like that. Um, but yeah, there are a lot of problems associated with over vaccination. So it's just about awareness, and that's what we're here to do and educate people so that they know, so they can learn how to do better for their cats. So yeah, okay. So what did you think of the quiz? The quiz is done. That's all I'm gonna do. So what was your score? Hopefully you guys are like 100%. But I sure hope maybe you learned something you hadn't heard of before. So Barbara says, "Hey Pam, boy, do I know about emotional sickness with squirrel." Yes, right. She is definitely a good example. Jennifer says, "I wish I would have known a lot of this information earlier. Unfortunately, after Buddy was diagnosed with FHS, I have learned so much." Yes, Jennifer, I know. I feel you. Um, and I can tell you, we have to release any guilt because we didn't know and we were just doing the best with what we knew at the time, right? So you have to release guilt and you have to like go forward with this new set of guidelines. So it's like, okay, now I know this and this is what I'm going to change in the future. So yes, unfortunately it can affect our current cats, but I know that was part of their purpose of being in our lives. And I know that sounds weird on some level, but I really, really feel strongly about that. Like they have come into our lives to teach, for us to learn lessons and to go through certain things. And they agreed to do this on a soul level so that we could learn and go through it with them. They become our greatest teachers, right? So it's a journey, it's a ride, and just know, like I have done since learning how to do better, I'm changing everything how I work with my cats now. The the two youngest ones, or actually the three youngest ones, so Aylin, Skylar, and Breeze, they are being raised so differently on so many levels, and they are so healthy. Um, you know, Gunner, he's almost 16 now, but he's doing great. But he didn't start off great because I didn't know a lot 16 years ago. So, I did make a lot of mistakes with him, but I stopped once I figured it out. And it wasn't too long after they came around. Probably within 4 years, they were probably about 3 or 4 years old, and I had already made a ton of changes in their care. So yeah, we sometimes we just have to do better on the next cats, the next pets that we have in our life. But I think that's part of the journey and part of the process. So, you know, none of us are perfect. And, the beautiful thing is our cats love us anyway. So even when we make all these crazy mistakes that we're like knocking our head against the wall and going, oh, what was I thinking? They are not holding that against you. So, and they still love you unconditionally, which is beautiful. Thank goodness, because You know, sometimes, like they say, it's easier to love cats or love our pets than it is people sometimes. So there you go. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap things up here? And then I'm going to talk about one other topic before we leave. Um, if you have a question, just in general, drop it in the comments. I wanted to talk just a couple minutes about the program that I have available now. It's Mastering Muscle Testing for Healthy, Happy Pets. I've changed it to pets because I had some interest from people that had dogs and cats. And so, you know what? The Mastering Muscle Testing program works just as beautifully for dogs as it does for cats. So if you are a dog person and you want to learn how to really take charge of your pet's health, and find why they are so out of balance from an energetic perspective, learn how to dive into energy, learn how to take your power back. So you don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to feel overwhelmed anymore. You can find answers that the body is hiding, but with muscle testing, you can find those answers. I promise you, it is not hidden forever. You just have to know how to go ask and ask the right questions, and find those frequencies. And I promise you, it can be done. I do it all day, every day. Um, so the course is ready. I'm actually in the process of building a learning platform, but all the documents and all the videos and all the outlines are already ready. It is a self-paced program. So you can enroll in the program and then you can work through it at your pace. We have weekly coaching calls and everything is recorded. So if you can't be there, you could submit a question and I answer it on a recording call. And then I post the recordings in the folder so you can go back and grab that information. Or if you just wanted to tune in and just watch and listen to other people's questions that I'm answering and help guiding them. So I hope that helps. So yeah, it is ready to go. It is not a PDF. It's not a manual. It is a lifetime program. You are going to be working with me and think of me kind of as your mentor of learning how to master the skill of muscle testing so that you can learn to identify where areas in the body are being affected by stress and imbalance, and then find all the potential sources of the causes of that stress and imbalance. Because it's all about energy, it's all about frequency, and that is what I teach you how to find. You learn to become a really good detective. And then you learn how to figure out, okay, what do I need to do about it? And then we also cover energy healing and energy clearing work. So whether that's an emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever it is, you can really take charge of your animals, your cat, your dog's health and well-being. And you can work alongside your vet. You can be empowered to find information, to find options, to find answers that are going to leave you feeling supported and heard and not wasting money and not throwing spaghetti at the wall to figure out what's working, what's not working. Do I spend all this money on this diagnostic? Do I not? I mean, there's just so much, there's so many benefits when you learn this skill. So if you are interested in applying for this program, because it is a private program, we have a private Facebook group where we support each other. And again, the weekly support calls. You have to book an appointment with me to go through it and just figure out if this is what you're looking for, if it's a good fit. Because it's not for everybody, but it's for people who are tired of being sick and tired of dealing with frustration and overwhelm and just not getting the information and the answers that they desperately need in order to help their cats and dogs thrive. Okay, not just survive but thrive. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to grab a link so that you guys can book a discovery call and see if this would be a good fit for you. Let me drop this over here in the comments. Okay, So there you go. So if you want to learn more about this and go over everything, just book a call with me. And again, I have payment options up to a year, so you don't have to be, stressed about paying it all up front or whatever, unless you prefer to do something like that. So anyway, does anybody have any other questions before we wrap up? Because if not, I will just let you guys go. And we have a really cool show next month with Karen Dindy Smith. We're going to be talking about energy and frequency. So anyway, thank you. Have a wonderful evening and have a great Memorial Day. And we'll see you guys back here again soon. Thanks, everyone.